Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Sarah Upside Down here. I do content for autism, ADHD, learning disabilities, and mental health, and like a combination of all of those sort of intertwine and how they relate. Today I'm going to be doing a video that's on a requested question, which is common ASD traits that you don't have. This one's going to be a little bit difficult for me, honestly, because even though I would be considered like ASD level 1, or that's, uh, my diagnosis or whatever, I actually present almost all of the common traits along with like some of the extras. But I think there's a few here and there that I don't. So, and then some, when we suppress them forever, we really don't show a lot of those, or we didn't most of our lives. So some of them are kind of nice to have later, like stimming, and kind of learning what you used to do or what you've suppressed and stuff like that. But yeah, so anyways, I just wanted to address that question and kind of, I guess, like give my information on it. I feel like I relate more to like the guy's side of things with some of this, like even down to some of my interests, maybe, or, um, not all of them, but just a lot of things that they would. I mean, obviously, if I went in there and I was female and like and there was a male and we went in there at the same time, they would probably say like he is more, but we would have the same traits. So, but yeah. Anyways, that's a whole nother discussion. But I'm gonna go down this list of stuff and I'll just kind of explain, something that I do have or something that I don't, and that can kind of give you an idea. I didn't know if I felt like the best person to answer this question, just because whenever I started learning more about autism, and then I did late identified and then had my diagnosis and just all of that, and then also being ADHD, like I just learned so many things, and it was more like I have done most of these things. I just didn't have like what they were, words for it, or I just, honestly thought I was just a weirdo, and so I mean, you know, um, yeah. But I'll just go ahead and start. So, not respond to their name. Yes, I did do that. I didn't respond to my name a lot of times, and my parents would just sit there and kind of talk about it going on. And um, yeah, so I could hear everything that they were saying, but I was usually super hyper focused or like really into what I was doing, and I just didn't. I could hear them even talking about me not hearing them. Um, while I was right there, but I just like was way too deep in whatever, And I can put myself back in those situations, and yeah. Does not point at objects, things of interest, or demonstrate interest. I'm gonna have to say no on that one. I definitely, I think if anything, I maybe said many times. I don't know. There was only a certain amount of things that I was interested in. So, like, if we're driving and I saw an antique sign on the side of the road, I'm like, let's go to the antique place, because I loved antiques and stuff like that. And so I would, like, say it and say it and say it, because those few interests that I really, really loved, I would want to verbalize that. So, um, does not play pretend games. I did play pretend games, but I think I was usually like the mother figure of that. So, like, I could kind of like have a little bit more control over, who's doing what, and it didn't make it like completely out of order in my brain to do it that way, but it wasn't typical still. I think it's just that, like, I was still over there playing with them, like, whatever. And there was obviously not a lot of education back then on what was or wasn't, and a lot of times we just played and our parents like hung out and talked and whatever, like they do. That's, so whatever. um Avoid eye contact. Yeah, I still do not like to have eye contact with people, and I've realized that I can hear better and pay attention better if I don't feel forced to have the eye contact. I've been able to tell my family, like, if I sit backwards or, whatever, and try to look at something and visualize something that's going on over here, then I'm going to be able to take in through, because I think it's like, just different audio processing issues too, but I'm going to be able to take in what you're saying better. But if I'm focused on looking you in the eyes and like trying to just do all that just so that you think I'm actually listening to you, then I'm not going to get what you're saying, and I'm not actually going to be listening to you. So that one is definitely a yes. Want to be alone. I did like having friends, but I didn't really know how to do friends, and so like I think it was easier for me to just be alone, and I wasn't like the lovey-dovey sister with my younger sister. Like I relate so much with Elsa and Anna because like although I wasn't trapped in the room, I think I probably trapped myself in there. We just had completely different interests, and for the most part, and like the one that we did have in common was like dancing and spinning and jumping and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, like I think I just didn't want to be with a lot of people all the time. Having difficulty understanding or showing understanding of other people's feelings or their own. I think I do struggle with alexithymia, and so that's like my own feelings, not exactly knowing mine, and so I don't always know exactly what's going on with me. I feel like I'm sensitive to sort of feeling what others do, but not really knowing, like not having a presentation of anything, or not much showing that I care, or not showing that I care in a way that most would. So yeah, so I would say yes, I do have difficulty with that. And theory of mind to a point. Have no speech or delayed speech. I would say I'm like on the opposite side of the circle or like it's a lower part of that color on the circle for me. I think I did really great with words and finding new words and loving big words. And stuff like that. But I did have some learning disabilities with reading and stuff, which I later found out like not way too long ago. It's all kind of in the dyslexia area, dysgraphia and stuff like that. But I was able to, I may have had a hard time finding words, but I was able to use them. Repeat words or phrases over and over. Yes, I still do that. I used to do it in my head a whole lot more. I do it out loud more, and now most of the time it's just my kids and whoever around, but definitely that one. Give unrelated answers to question. Yes, I do that. Get upset by minor changes. Yes, I've done that for like the longest time. I would have meltdowns in the bathroom if we had to hurry up or get to the next place or go to, wherever. Have obsessive interests. Yes, I do have those. Right now I am super into, which really goes back to like my interest as a younger child with like CSI, crime scene, psychology, typology, and right now it's like the MBTI, like all that stuff. And then I've always loved Tim Burton, and yeah, so I definitely have all those. Flap their hands, rock their body, and spin in circles. I don't remember doing this much as a kid. I know I spun in circles a lot, and I still rock. I think rocking is one that I do more, but I like to clap and snap, and so I don't know. They use these specific ones. Mine are obviously different. But I've always been fidgety. I used to have to sit on my hands and stuff like that because I couldn't. I was distracting others or whatever else, but I was always stimming or fidgeting or something. Have unusual reactions, over or under sensitivity to the way things sound, smell, taste, look, or feel. Yes, I have been extremely hypersensitive since I was little. I don't like to be touched. Super sensitive to that, super sensitive to sounds. That's gotten worse since being a parent and kind of like not being able to control the sounds and things as much. Like, I love going to loud places and stuff, but before I was a parent, I was able to like gain my energy for the rest of the week if I was going to go to some sort of like concert or different things. Or I did maybe have meltdowns and stuff and I didn't know why because I didn't know that I was autistic. So, have low to no social skills. Well, masking, I would say the one good thing about that is it made me look like I had social skills. So yeah, I probably didn't have the best social skills. I didn't really have long friendships and things like that. I kind of didn't really know naturally how those things went about. Sorry, I had a lag there. Avoid or resist physical contact. I don't know. I mean, I think that I felt like I was supposed to do it, but I don't particularly like it. And now I do kind of avoid it more unless you know, because, yeah, I won't go into that. Demonstrate little safety or danger awareness. I was actually like really cautious, more cautious than my brother and sister in that way. Like I did kind of, I think, have more anxiety as a child too, and still have that. And so like I don't just always go out and do whatever because I like to. It's also like, you know, trying to like plan up for things. um, Reverse pronouns says you instead of I. Yes, you can ask my husband. It just happens. It just happens. I don't know. Like I still do that. I don't know what the deal with that is. Says people may also have unusual interests and behaviors. Yes, I've always been into like the sort of morbid, sort of different, you know, somewhat dark possibly things. You know, I wanted to be a medical examiner in 4th grade, you know, when people were trying to be firemen and stuff. And like all that stuff's great. I'm just saying that like I stood up and said that anyways. Definitely bullying after that moment. Have extreme anxiety and phobias. Yes, mostly anxiety, which probably has gotten worse since trying to organize more people's lives, children, husbands, all that shebang. And phobias is mostly just like stuff like certain bugs. I can't even say the word, but it starts with a C, and it's just like, can't do it. Line up toys or other objects. Yes, still do that. Still have to have my desk in a certain ways. But whenever I was younger, my whole room, whenever I was in 4th and 5th and I don't know, probably some of 6th grade, I had like Japanese, Chinese, like just Asia, Japan, like antiques, faces, all that kind of stuff. But I had like these perfect like shelves, and I had all my stuff lined up like on the shelves. I would have like a little bit of toys here and there, but for the most part, even in those ages, I didn't really have much toys. I just had like flea market artifacts, basically. Like I was a wannabe like architect or archaeologist, but I never actually did it, and so I would just collect my own things. But they were all lined up and like how they needed to be. So and then play with toys the same way every time. I do say that like even now, like I like to set stuff up, but I don't necessarily like do the pretend stuff so much, or it's not natural, like it doesn't come super easily. I think that there's other reasons for that. But yeah, practice makes good enough. Become upset by minor changes. I feel like I already answered that one. Likes parts of objects. Yes, I am like a cooler version of Tinkerbell. So, always collected rocks and things like that. Have obsessive interests. Yes, already talked about that. Hyperactivity, yes. So here is where, you know, a lot of us, you know, probably have comorbid ADHD, and I have hyperactive and inattentive ADHD. I actually was diagnosed with that whenever I was a junior in high school. A senior in high school, and a few years too late. Impulsivity, acting without thinking. I don't have that so much. I think I do that with certain things. Like if it has to do with my special interests, I will probably think less about it because I feel like there's a purpose and I need something for that. So I have to work on that one. Short attention span, same. Have that, but if I'm in a certain activity, then I can actually hyper focus and do really well. Aggression, yeah. Well, we won't go into that, but yes. That one. Causing self-injury. I do remember biting myself a lot whenever I was little and stuff. So yeah, I would say that one. Meltdowns. Yes, I definitely had those. Unusual eating and sleeping habits. Yes, have had probably struggles with insomnia or not good sleeping stuff since I was a child. You can ask my parents. I just did not go to sleep. It didn't really matter if you gave me something or not. It did not quite work. And I still have that problem. Brain just does not shut down. Unusual mood or emotional reactions. I would say yes, I maybe struggle with that, especially with sensory overload. I think that's most of my reason. Lack of fear or more fear than expected. I don't really struggle with that one. And then less common ones that are like not really brought up very much are like GI issues. I have those. Sensory processing disorder, yes, I have that. Seizures, no, that's not one that I've heard that. I think I have one friend that actually goes through that, but not most that I know. Linguistic oddities, impressive vocabulary, love for words, bored of peers' conversations, seem eccentric during conversations due to diverse vocabulary, frequent interruptions, or focus on specific topics. Count me in, check me in. Yes, I do that. This is one that's actually not noticed much. So, people that don't know much about autism or that are not in the autistic community, they think, they just picture this, just the nonverbal side of things, or, that if they completely don't know, really is, that's what they know of it. But there's actually children that are like have hyperlexia and can read really early and have exceptional speech, know a lot of words, know a lot of different things that, and how to pronounce just exceptionally with language. And then later on, they are able to learn language faster. They can learn other languages. Like I was always interested in learning, French and Japanese and all of that. And I did pretty well with learning language. Not that I actually got through with doing that, but it's been an interest. Seems odd to others rather than neurological when you do that. So whenever you kind of have this like odd way of speaking or whatever, people may think that it's just because of your personality versus your neurology. And I'm not saying it's not a mixture of both for me because, like whatever. But yeah, and then there's unusual movement patterns, toe walking. I never did that, but I've actually seen like a good amount of autistic children that do toe walk and stuff, and people ask like why are they doing that. So yeah, but anyways, that's just sort of a list of all these different things. I for the most part have like all of them. I just don't have the maybe stereotypical stims all the time. I do stuff like this or whatever, but it's just not yeah. But anyways, that's all I have today. That may have answered questions or just went completely opposite in the direction. So, hope that helps you to kind of iron those things out, or maybe gives you information on some stuff that you didn't know could be traits. And yeah, or looking it up. Maybe girls